In this game, I played a 700 rated player, and it did not go as I planned. A big takeaway from this game is to always don't forget about the basics of chess. Never play down to your rating. Always play up to your rating. If you don't play good moves, it doesn't matter what your rating is. The chessboard doesn't lie. And you have to give your opponent problems over the board. If you don't and make the position easy for them, you can be much better than them. But if you make an easy position for them and you don't give them problems, they can find good, solid moves and make the game pretty sterile. And anyway, in this game, that's kind of what happened. Now, he's not playing great moves right now because he gave me a bunch of tempos on his bishop. But again, the position's about even. I left the eval bar up here. And here I take and I play e5. He plays queen g5. And now this is going how I expected a game against the 700 would go. He just dropped a pawn here. So I just simply trade queens, and now there's nothing defending the e5 pawn. So I win a pawn. I'm like, okay, this is going as planned. He plays f4. I bring my knight here. Again, I'm attacking this. And if he takes my knight, that's good. He does take my knight. So now that makes my light square bishop more powerful since his is going to be off the board. I don't take like this because my bishop is no good now. And yeah, I have an open file for my rook. But if I take with the e-pawn, I have an open diagonal for my bishop, and I still have an open file for my rook. So I have the best of both worlds. So that's how I took. Here, I can't let him take because if I let him take, he messes up my pawn structure. So I simply take first. Then I play bishop e7. After this, I play h6 because it looks like I'm hitting both his knights and he's in trouble. If he moves this knight, he loses this one. If he moves this knight, he loses this one. However, he found the in-between move and hits my bishop. Now, if I take, he takes, which is why you should always have your pieces defended if you can. If this bishop was defended, this tactic wouldn't work for him and he would be down a piece. However, to his credit, he found that good tactic. I move out of the way. He comes here, and this is where I made the crucial mistake of the game. I played f5, and normally I wouldn't play a move like f5 because it gives me a backwards pawn. But for some reason, I got a little cocky and felt like it would be fine. Probably, to be honest with you, because I was playing a much lower rated player. I didn't think much of it. But again, it doesn't matter what your opponent's rating is. We should be playing good objective chess, following the basics, the underlying principles of chess, and only avoid those principles or basics when we assess a certain nuance in the position where we have to, where we have a specific reason to, a specific tactic or whatever. But for here, for no reason, I just gave myself a backwards pawn, thinking, at least I'm taking up more space. Maybe I could put my bishop here at some point after the knight moves at some point and have a good post for my bishop and just defend this pawn. But it doesn't really make sense. I just gave myself a backwards pawn, and he immediately capitalizes on it and plays knight c3, threatening to get my bishop. Well, it's defended, but the whole point is, if I just play like a regular move like this, he just, I was thinking maybe he plays that. He can't play that, but the point is there's not really much I can do to, if I just move my bishop out of the way, he takes this, and then I'm in trouble. Now I'm not up a pawn anymore. So I have to keep my bishop here. So here I just played knight f6. He takes, and now what happens is now I have, because I gave myself a backwards pawn, he was able to capitalize and now give me an isolated pawn. Now, there's the only good thing or upside to this is because you always have to look at the upsides of your positions or the pros of your positions. And the upside of this is it's actually a pass pawn because it was before it was here running into this pawn, but now this pawn's passed. Now, he should be able to contain it. It's more of a weakness than a strength here because it's not realistically going to go up the board and queen anytime soon. But it is technically a pass pawn, and I can utilize this to my advantage or just play, use the pros of a pass pawn in this position and build my strategy around that. And that's actually, this pass pawn actually helps me, in this game. So he takes over this file. I challenge it, and he comes here. Now, he's threatening to win a pawn here, it looks like. So here I don't want him to set up and keep on putting more pieces here. So I played knight e4 here, which the computer didn't love. But the point is, if he takes with this, I would take here. And but he didn't. if he takes with the rook, I should say, I wouldn't take back. I would actually just play knight c5 and just simply win the knight. So he took first, I took, then he took the pawn. Now you might be thinking, okay, well, the whole point of that was to play rook a8, and then when he comes back, somewhere like here, this pawn's weak. But no, that's not. I was using this as I was giving up a pawn to get time. So time is one of the dimensions of chess. Gary Kasparov has mentioned this, and chess is basically material, time, and space, according to him. So I use this. I allowed him to get this pawn so I can gain time and push my passed pawn. So now my passed pawn is one step closer to queening, and he also has to get his knight back into the game. And when he does, I'll use another. I have to get my rook behind my passed pawns, So I'll use that to get my rook behind the passed pawn at some point, or push the passed pawn. He comes in and attacks my rook and attacks this pawn. Again, you might be thinking I'm going to defend the pawn here, but here instead I decide to use time to my advantage, and which the computer doesn't like. The computer actually just wants me to defend the pawn, but I use sacrifice another pawn for a time. So in the time it takes him to get this pawn, I push my pawn up once again. So now I gave up 2 pawns, but my passed pawn went up 2 spaces, which is also important. And the computer, even though it didn't like my last idea, it still gives me a significant advantage, a winning position. And my pawn is 2 spaces away from queening. And this knight is excellently placed. It's posted. It really can't be dislodged, and it's taking away a flight square from my opponent's king. So now my opponent rightfully, tries to keep an eye on that passed pawn. And now I actually start to go this way. Now I can make this move because my knight guards the flight square. If he takes, there would be a checkmate in 2, and there's no way for him to get out. So that's why I can actually play rook c8 here. He brings a knight back. Now I push my pawn up 1 more spot, and now we have a completely even position here. And I didn't really give my opponent too many problems during this game, but now I am. And ironically, I'm giving my opponent a lot of problems, but the position's equal. But I'm still giving him problems. He's not really giving me problems. So if the position's equal, but I'm giving him a lot of problems over the board, it means he has to play super accurately, and I don't. And I discuss this a lot in my videos. And you want to put your opponent in positions where, you have a good position, a comfortable position, where you can play a lot of good ideas, and they're kind of like, shoehorned into playing one specific move at a time. That's either keeping them in the game, and if they don't play that one move, if they don't play super accurately, they're going to lose the game. So my opponent plays here, which is computer doesn't like, but it's actually tricky. I'm keeping an eye on my pawn and attacking this pawn. He defends, and now I go to attack this pawn, and he just simply pushes. I take, and now he plays knight g3, which is an excellent move. My opponent's playing really good defense, playing a really good game, actually, for his rating especially, for any rating, but definitely for his rating. He's playing excellent. And the point is, if I take, he doubles his pawns, but he can probably untangle them soon. This is gone. I'm going to draw this game, and I don't want to draw the game against the 700. So now if I come back here and just keep an eye on this, again, he takes. I'm almost close enough to connect my pawns, but I just ran out of time, so I don't get a chance to. So I have to make the game as tricky as possible. I have to give my opponent problems and complicate things and, make him go astray, so to speak. So I play rook c6. Now, the point is he can take, which is what he did, but now I just simply take back. I was thinking about playing something like this. So now if he takes, I take. He can't take because he's pinned, but he could play something like that and would be totally winning. So we have to be careful when we make things tricky for our opponents because we could also lose the game ourselves. So instead I just took back, and he took back, and now I played e3. So now I have a passed pawn on the e file, not the d file, but my pawn's doing 2 things. It's 2 squares away from queening. It's actually doing 3 things. It's 2 squares away from queening. it's gaining a tempo on the rook, and it's taking away that key flight square from my king that my knight was taking away for the king. So basically what that means is since he has 2 pawns here and the third square in front of his king is taken by my pawn, there's back rank mates there that he has to see. So if he comes back here, which looks like a harmless move at first sight, it's checkmate in 2 moves. So my opponent simply came here, check. I don't move to h7. I move to f7 because that stops him from getting behind my pawn if he wants to. And now this is actually even position, but I made things tricky for him. And my opponent here actually missed the mate, and that's why we make things complicated for our opponent or tricky. And he missed the fact that this is checkmate. So it's hard to see sometimes, especially when you're in time trouble, but this is checkmate. Now, what could my opponent have done? He played a great game. In this position, it's still even. He should have just played king f1, and now there's no mate threats, and he's going to come down here. I have to, I can cut the king off, but again, he could always still push his pawn, and this is going to be, as you can see by the eval, a completely drawn game. Anyway, hopefully you liked that video. Some key takeaways: just try to make problems for your opponent when you're playing chess. I know it sounds basic, but that's what you have to do. And don't play, because you're playing a low-rated player. You still have to play good, solid moves. You can't let your rating play for you. That's not how chess works. Anyway, if you like that video, check out this one. I'll catch you guys next time. Go play some chess.